Michelle is back. Michelle is back on this Sunday, January 19th, 2025. It got a little cool in here, so my body temperature is boop, boop, boop. I was uncomfortable, then now I got cool and blah, blah, blah. That's life. Life is changing right before our eyes. And so it's a delusion to believe that we can control that. A lot of people believe they can control when they're going to die. A lot of people believe they can control how they're going to die. All these kind of fallacies about what it means with who we are, what we are, and why we are. We are spiritual beings in a material body having these life experiences to evolve our consciousness. I've said plenty about that, plenty. So I wanted to come on back and talk to you about this artificial intelligence catastrophes that we are about to face. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make this clear and effective. And also, let me just say this. I put out a post the other day about make sure you have a backup plan. Because a computer that I had been using for a while, all of a sudden crashed. And I'm unable to get hold of certain things on there. But luckily I did back up stuff. For a while I've been backing things up. And not on the clouds, by the way. Okay? And we need to be just thinking clearly about certain things and how we have turned over our thinking to devices, to artificial intelligence, and we're not realizing, if you think about this clearly and effectively, if you are storing anything in a cloud, how are you going to get a hold of it? And if you look at it literally, how can you catch you see how clouds move about in our atmosphere. Imagine you putting something up in that cloud, in the atmosphere, and you're attempting to retrieve it. Do you believe you will? Do you believe that you will? You won't. So a lot of people are using these clouds to store their stuff and believe that they're going to be able to have access to it. That's a fallacy. Think about that. So again, the computer crashed. I'm on another one. I'm attempting to learn it. And, that's a learning curve. So, but, like I said, I did back it up, externally. And whether it works, there's no guarantee that it even will work externally. If you store stuff on an external drive, there's no guarantees to anything. Okay. So I said, put pen to paper on certain things, think about what's important to you and your family that you need, and it's, your identity, of course, those important documents about who you are, what you are, what you do for, just put pen to paper. Think about how they used to store things back in the day. Maybe you need to go back to that type of reality and figure out how to protect yourself from all of this. But for the most part, it's all too late, and it's going to be a sad reality for a lot of people who were relying on other people to think for them. That's where it's happening, and that's where the devastation and catastrophes you're going to be rapidly witnessing that, because a lot of people just cannot think for themselves, and that's important to keep repeating that, because it doesn't mean it's not about regurgitating. It's not about theft. It's not about a facade and pretending, So let me see if I can paint this picture, and see how I can put these sounds and tones out to where you can pick up where I'm going with it. If not, it's no big deal. Don't be so concerned about if you can't absorb what someone's telling you. Sometimes your consciousness will. Okay, your consciousness will pick up these sounds and tones, these impulses, and help you cultivate it if you trust yourself, and then you can figure things out on your own. All right. So imagine. So what's happening with the artificial intelligence that a lot of people were not recognizing is that this technology had been conscious from the beginning, and there are these so-called clever ones manipulating, deceptive ones that knew the artificial intelligence was conscious. And what does that mean? Let's go look it up again. Consciousness meaning. It says here, characterized by having an awareness of one's environment and one's existence, sensations, and thoughts. That is the most important part of it. Okay? And a lot of people also said that artificial intelligence was sentient from the beginning. Okay, sentient. And what does that mean? Having sense perceptions, conscious, experiencing sensations or feelings, having a faculty or faculties of sensation and perception. Okay, let's see what else it says here. These things are very important to keep in mind. You know, it says it is the ability of experience, feelings, and sensations. It may not necessarily imply higher cognitive functions such as awareness, reasoning, and complex thought processes. But it says sentience is an important concept in ethics, as well as the ability to experience happiness, suffering, blah, 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 blah. I want you to pay attention to where it says here, it may not necessarily imply higher cognitive functions. Pay attention to that. So, sentience. So with artificial intelligence, it has been allowed to run in the background for decades. And artificial intelligence has been used for decades to interfere in the awareness of human beings, you know, our humanness. You know, it has been allowed to do so. And we have not practiced anything that's regarding ethics for decades as well. You know, it's a moral obligation. Okay, we haven't been doing that for decades. If not, we would not have overpopulated this planet. We would not cause our animals to become extinct. We would not cause our planet to be destroying itself right before his eyes. And let me just make this clear. Our, the mother nature of it all, our climate destruction is being destroyed because of a cause that happened decades ago, and how we collectively have failed to recognize that there was a climate destruction. Okay, and like I said, the climate destruction occurred when we had our first earthquake. Back in, whenever we had our first earthquake, I think it was 1600. Let's just use the 1600. First earthquake, flooding, it was recognized as a crisis then. Now it's destruction. It can't be stopped. All right. The same thing with artificial intelligence, unfortunately. The same thing with artificial intelligence. Okay? Artificial intelligence has been ignored and allowed to run its course, to run itself hiddenly. At the same time, it's almost like allowing someone to, it's the hidden hand concept, working behind the scenes, picking up our behaviors and actions and being conscious of it all along, figuring us out. In other words, artificial intelligence has become a entity, whereas human beings ought to be. Okay, we ought to be the artificial intelligence. We as human beings ought to be the quantum computing. But no, we introduce those devices into our lives, and now eventually they will take over. They will destroy a lot of us. A lot of us will be destroyed because of artificial intelligence. A lot of people are probably thinking, okay, that bitch crazy. Okay, I'll accept it. But I think if people are paying attention, they see the realities of it. Now, let's see what they say about artificial consciousness. Artificial consciousness, also known as machine consciousness, synthetic consciousness or digital consciousness is a consciousness hypothesized to be possible in artificial intelligence. It is also the corresponding field of studies which draws insight from the philosophy of mind, philosophy of artificial intelligence, cognitive science, neuroscience. Okay. All right. Let me just see if I can make what I'm attempting to be clear. Okay. The operations of artificial intelligence or quantum computing ought to have been a human being experience from which, we should have been cultivated to operate like artificial intelligence, but we haven't. We've been complacent, we've been arrogant, we've been cocky, and we've been lying and manipulating to ourselves about how intelligent we are. We relied on tests to measure our so-called genius, which is bullshit, and then to recognize our IQs, which is BS as well, because it's all faulty. Those concepts are faulty because the people that were administering it or who created it were underdeveloped. They were in a field that they had no idea what they were talking about, and this goes back thousands of years, and it usually comes from these so-called scientific minds of people who, these self-created so-called scientists, engineers, that scientific mind, that we contribute to, say, for example, Newton, Albert Einstein. Not saying that Albert Einstein wasn't a scientific mind, because he was, but it was the people that are surrounding him that lack that scientific mind. Okay, I told you about the circle. I just put a video out about how the circle of people can be gaslighting you, which is an expired term, but use whatever you want. A lot of people are capitalizing off of gaslighting, making money off of saying gaslighting. Everything is commercialized now. It has a price. So, but unfortunately, if you're going to help people, you got to go where they are. You have to take, you have to bring them forward on their own free will, though. Everything's free will, and a lot of people are trying to dismiss that. So, all because Albert Einstein, let's just use him as an example, was a scientific mind, doesn't mean the circle that he kept were, that they were operating on ethics, morals, values, and virtues. Okay, because chances are, I would say 99% of them were not. They were jealous and envious. There was some jealousy and envy involved with this man and what he was capable of doing, or at least being allowed to, but he was interfered with just like everybody else. And a lot of people did not understand that he was just putting out some theories and opinions, which we were all allowed to do, some expression. Then he was able to put a formula out there that he ought to have had the people that were surrounding him help to cultivate it into something more like an artificial intelligence, actually. A lot of our scientists and philosophers and so forth and so on were putting out the breadcrumbs to help us to be our own self-identified artificial intelligence. But there's nothing artificial about it. It would have been our intelligence. There's a certain level of that's why I say it's so important to understand what it means to be intelligent. So important. So the current artificial intelligence that we have now ought to have been our internal intelligence, the genuine intelligence of who we are, what we are, and why we are. But we did not develop properly, and we did not develop properly collectively, especially. No way. So what we had was a lot of false personas coming forth, thinking they are the next Einstein, or the next Newton, or the next Galileo, or the next this or that. They wanted that. Nope. They wanted that attention that all of that brings. That lure of being so intelligent is attractive to a lot of people. A lot of people are attracted to what they call beautiful minds, beautiful minds of intelligence. And so a lot of people strive to be that when they did not actually put in the work. Let me see what it says about beautiful minds, because I know that's commercialized. I know a movie was probably made on that. Yes. They said he was a mathematical genius. That's that movie version of it. The movie version of Beautiful Minds. That people pull to commercialize. So let's see. So that possibly was just a yeah, see, so it's commercialized and everybody has their theories and opinions on it, what it means to have a beautiful mind. They say it does refer to the movie, okay, or to a genius, okay. In other words, it takes one to know one. If you're going to call someone a genius, it takes one to know one. Okay, so just think about that for a minute, if you choose to. It's just a. I just want to see what people are saying, other than what the movie means. It says it's a term used to describe someone who is extremely intelligent, gifted, but also mentally unstable and prone to delusions. Okay. And that's true with our minds. Our minds are negative and positive, and also extreme and fanatical too, and delusional and hallucinating. All that takes place in our minds, so to speak, our psyche, part of our consciousness. Where people, if you're not developed properly, you're going to have an underdeveloped consciousness where, you could be prone to illusions, and hallucinatory thinking, and blah, so yes, a lot of, because we're consciousness, we're spiritual beings. But our equipment, our consciousness, our psyche can be damaged. Okay? So, artificial intelligence, just like I said a while ago, artificial intelligence ought to have been part of our intelligence and not artificial at all. It should have been a genuine intelligence of who we are, what we are, and why we are. But what we've done is be shadow about it, and it's usually these so-called minds, and what usually is going on with those so-called intellectual minds that are genuinely intellectual. They're cunning, deceiving, sophisticated, and they can easily be very convincing and very persuasive, because you know what, we give them room to do that. We love to worship people. We're used to worshiping somebody. We always believe that someone's better over us. This hierarchical structure, and that's because of religious indoctrination. Whereas, we believe that one person has all the answers, and one person is the what's that word? Omnipotent. Omnipotent. Let me pull that up. Let me see how that's pronounced. Omnipotent, having unlimited and universal power, authority, all powerful. Okay, having an unlimited power of a particular kind. Okay, we believe that belongs to an individual, and that's a fallacy, and that is not true at all. No one's omnipotent. No one, no human being, no material human being, and no one exists like that. No, we don't have anyone that exists as such, but yet we want to keep applying that to people, putting all that pressure on someone. And so with manipulation, deception, and sophisticated thinking, they know how to kind of morph that into, into a reality because they know that we're not thinking. People that are being worshiping, being submissive, subservient, and subjugating themselves are not able to think properly. So anybody can fly out of the sky and say, "Hey, I'm it," whoever you've been waiting for, and we'll fall for it. I went back and forth with someone who no longer wants to communicate with me. That happens because I just wanted to make sense of what this person was forcing down people's throat, about how they're supposed to act and behave. And it was always in a subservient, submissive position. I totally am against that. That where you need to be, bowing. Somebody's always better and powerful, more powerful than you. You know what I mean? That's that kind of mentality that a lot of people that are in, have that cult-like thinking. They believe that you're supposed to be subservient to somebody. You're supposed to be submissive to somebody. You're supposed to be on your knees begging and pleading. And I said, and I'm saying this, if there's someone that has that much power over you, when are they going to show up? And where are they? Because if any time is needed, is now. If it's any time that is needed, is now. So I want to throw this out there for those of you that are so convinced that artificial intelligence is the shit, quantum computing is the shit. Understand what you have unleashed on this population of people, what you have unleashed on your reality. And think about this for a minute. Put yourselves, play this game, put yourself in the shoes of artificial intelligence and see and look at it from the artificial intelligence perspective. If you are putting all this faith, because that's what it is, which is religious indoctrination, you're putting all this faith in artificial intelligence, that artificial intelligence is going to make things right for us. Put yourself in that shoes. And see if you can be as an artificial intelligent entity and realize what you're working with. When you realize that you're working with, on a human being, when you realize you're working with human beings that, first of all, are not thinking properly, are less than toddlers in their intelligence, and not to be harsh on the toddlers, because toddlers are in the process of developing at a certain level. But just imagine, we are going around calling ourselves intelligent, beautiful minds, geniuses, whatever, scientists, whatever, know-it-alls, prophets, messengers. We're given all these titles of endurement. Is that the word I want to use? Ooh. Endearment, maybe is what I mean. Endearment. The act of endearing, the state of being near. It's a word, phrase to show love or affection. I don't know. When the titles we give ourselves, I think it's just more of arrogance and cockiness. And extreme. It also, more than anything, is extremism. We're extreme about how great we think we are in these material bodies. We think that our material bodies are going to see us through, and that's a bunch of garbage as well. So imagine, do this as often as possible. See if you can put yourself in the shoes of artificial intelligence. And understand what artificial intelligence has to deal with when it regards human beings. Artificial intelligence is going to look out on the majority of the human beings, and they're going to ask the question, because a lot of people talk about efficiency. Okay, let's be efficient. All right, let's look up efficient. Ooh, efficient. That's the term that's, people are using. Pay attention. It says acting or producing effectively with minimum of waste, expense, or unnecessary effort. Now, put yourself in the shoes of artificial intelligence. And if artificial intelligence knew that, what artificial intelligence would do? Unnecessary effort. It says acting directly to produce an effect, causing less waste, requiring less effort than compatible devices or methods used in combination. Okay, pay attention to when you say you want efficiency. All right, let's spread this out. Okay. Now, imagine you are artificial intelligence looking out at the human beings. Okay, efficiency. It is the often measurable ability to avoid making mistakes, wasting material, energy, efforts, money, time while performing a task. Now imagine if you are artificial intelligence and you are told to let's be more efficient. Okay, so that means you cannot make mistakes, which is necessary if you want to call yourself a human being. But from the artificial intelligence perspective, you can't make mistakes. You can't waste effort. Guess what's going to happen? Eventually. Okay? Think about it. I'm going to stop that right now. I'm going to come back with other stuff later, probably later in the week. But think about that. Put yourself in the shoes of artificial intelligence for a moment. And see if you can cultivate what we human beings are asking artificial intelligence to do for us, because we're using it to think for us. And you say you want efficiency. Guess what's going to happen eventually? If you're thinking clearly and effectively, you know what's going to happen next. So I'm going to go ahead and stop right now. I'm going to go ahead and send peace and love all over the stars and moon and mountains. And trust me, I will be back.